I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. All right, so there's a lot going on now as we are in the tribulation, and a lot of it circling around Tribulation Trump. Now, think for just a second, perhaps you listen to me and you say, well, I don't believe all that. Pastor Manning, I like a lot of things that you do, but, you know, there's this tribulation that God told you that Donald Trump is a tribulation, trigger the tribulation. I don't get into that, but I'm not going to disengage you because I don't believe you about that. But can I just share something with you? Can I ask you? Listen to this for a second. You know, we've been hearing a lot about Kanye West, right? Anti-Semite, says he loves Hitler. Hitler did a lot of good things, right? Sitting down at dinner with Tribulation Trump. And of course, we have seen that Kanye West has said he's going to DEFCON 3 on the Jews. That means he's going to use, you know, some 50 million people that follow him worldwide to, to launch a campaign against Jewish people. What I'm wondering is whether or not there's going to be some sort of we had the Crown Heights riots, right? Remember that? There was a Jewish student a Jewish rabbi that ran over a 8-year-old boy out in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and it started riots that summer that lasted for quite some time, black people against Jews in Crown Heights, that had been seething for quite some time because of economic and Jews taking over, pretty much gentrifying what had been initially black people's stomping ground, Crown Heights. Are we going to see something similar now? Because you got Dave Chappelle, who is a very popular entertainer. You got Kanye West, you got Kyrie Irving, very powerful basketball player. You know, and underneath that, you may have literally hundreds of other so-called rich black people in the sports and entertainment. If they start locking arms with Dave Chappelle, Kanye West, and Kyrie Irving, and the Jews put up their responses, whatever, how they could do it with media or whatever, and there be a war between black people and Jews. I'm not wishing for this. I'm not forecasting it. I'm not promoting it, but something is going on. Dave Chappelle, while he doesn't really rail that against Trump that much, except in many ways, like Kanye, I think he respects Trump, which most black people hate Trump's shadow. Here's the issue, though. So you don't believe that God said that Trump is the trigger of the tribulation. But we've never seen, I mean, Richard Pryor told jokes, but, they weren't going anywhere politically. Kanye West has got an audience. Kanye West has a following. Kanye West got money. Richard Pryor didn't have any money. I mean, though he should have. All his money went up his nose, cocaine. Dave Chappelle turned down a $50 million movie deal a few years ago and moved out to Ohio. He said, look, the poor whites, he just said. And he says he gets it why Trump is so popular. And we're now seeing these Hamites now taking a position that, that's written, it's anti-Dr. King. This ain't about, they're not praising Dr. King for nothing. They're not even praising, these two don't even praise Obama. They're like, all y'all black people running around here talking about Dr. King and Obama and you're crazy, and Kanye says, Trump is his boy. Dave Chappelle says, the man's a hero. He's a star. We need to listen to that. And not that I agree with it, but is there something of brew? Let me just turn the corner for just a second. Trump, the trigger of the tribulation. Will there be some sort of uprising, a physical, and I'm not promoting this, I'm simply asking the question as a preacher, as a man of God that will want to promote peace. But I smell a war between black people and Jews coming. I smell it. I do. And they're not back. Kyrie Irving is not backing down. At least I haven't heard it. Kanye West definitely ain't backing down. Dave Chappelle ain't backing down. And the other thing is that they're also against this LGBTQ madness as well. They're against LGBTQ. And listen, Nick Fuentes said this. Nick Fuentes said that were it not for Jewish money and influence, there would be no pornography in America as it is, nor would the LGBTQ get as far as they have gotten. Dave Chappelle said, y'all have made more progress than our 50 years of marching with Dr. King, the LGBTQ. And he was right. And, a lot of people have banned him. He got, they won't let him appear in certain cities or towns because he's against LGBTQ and trannies in particular. But these, I've never seen anything like, I've seen Dr. King march and said we want civil rights and open up the door to the Mississippi schools and that kind of thing. Okay, all right, let's ride on the bus in Birmingham. But this is different. And I don't see it going away. I don't. The problem is this, is that this is an hypothesis for just a second, okay? An hypothesis. Kanye West wields power on this regard. If the entertainment industry that promoted Kanye, if the apparel industry and other industries that promoted Kanye come out against him too hard, some of the other rappers may decide to come to his defense. If that happens, if some other major rapper comes to Kanye's defense and then Kanye calls for a boycott of Adidas by Hamite people alone. If Jay-Z and others don't come to his aid, if Hamite people believe that Jewish people are persecuting Kanye and Jay-Z does not come to his aid, they can not only can Kanye call a boycott against Adidas and other apparel where they are associated with, but he can call a boycott against Jay-Z. I mean, he can send 10,000 black people down there to Soho where Jay-Z lives. And it is on. Here, the Bible says when you're pulling thorns out of the garden, when you reach to pull a thorn out, be very careful because underneath the ground, the thorns roots are tied to the fruit trees and the fruit and the wheat and the barley roots. Those thorns underneath the surface, they're all tied together. So you be careful when you pull the thorns up, you're going to pull up the barley and the wheat as well. And Jesus said in some instances, you got to just let them all grow together until reaping time. I can tell you this right now. Major business corporations are looking at Dave Chappelle and Kanye West and Kyrie Irving and saying, we can't just run over these people because if we try to pull them out, we're going to pull up all of our income that we make off of these people playing basketball, rapping, entertainment. We're going to pull up, we just got to let this go. We're going to have to let Kanye say what he, you can let Jake Tapper and a bunch of other people say, we're going to have to let Kanye do what he wants to do. What are we going to do? If we try to pull him up, the Bible says we're going to, and it's all circling around Trump. This would not have happened under Obama. I think Kanye West, because he's, and Dave Chappelle and others like me consider Obama the biggest fraud that ever lived and found the weakest people ever calling him a black man, voting for him and talking about us got a black president. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And it represents just a dumb group of people called black, us got a black president. I think Kanye knows better. So here's the deal. All of this is now See, if you take Trump out of the equation, Kanye would not be getting all the press he's getting right now. If you take Trump out of it, if Trump had not met with him, he wouldn't be getting all the press. And Dave Chappelle understands that his press, the way he's able to move effectively now is and live out in Ohio. Well, I know people in Ohio. The way he's able to live in Ohio is because he was for Trump too. They would have ran, listen, Dave Chappelle can live in Ohio with white folk, but he can't live in Harlem with black folk, because black folk will run him out of town saying he supports Trump. I know personally. You see this? Well, Dave can live with white folk because he supports Trump, but can't live with black folk because they're Obama worshipers. There's something going on. And I think Kanye is smart enough, I'm not here praising him, I think he's smart enough, a businessman enough to know there ain't but so much that the Jewish people can do to him unless they want to tear up the whole rap industry, tear up the whole movie industry, hell, even tear up the whole porn industry. Where they get their mandingos from. No, this is serious business. This is serious business. Now, if you're offended by that mandingo thing, there's this whole idea that black men are greatly endowed. If that offended you, I'm sorry. I apologize bitterly, but I just got to keep it real. Got to keep it real. But I don't want to offend you in any way, so please forgive me if your feelings were hurt by that. Let's just see. But Trump is the trigger of the tribulation. And this is not going to go away anytime soon. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant.